Hello, and welcome to another Wargamer Dragoncast with me, Rangru. And today we have a 1v1 on Highway to Seoul from the Wargame Bootcamp Discord monthly tournament with the Disposable deck format. So on the left hand side in blue we have ourselves Oracle playing as Blue Dragons. On the right hand side in the red we have NBK playing as Eastern Bloc. And what makes this tournament pretty interesting is with the Disposable deck format, the entire gimmick is that once you play a type of deck, National, Coalition, certain specification, you cannot play that same deck again. So once you play Commonwealth deck, you can't play Commonwealth. Once you play Eastern Bloc, you can't play Eastern Bloc. With some extra stipulations for Yugoslavia and Finland, so you're not just gimmicking it by playing Finnish Poles one and then Finns with the other. You have other nations you can switch between playing a coalition to playing an individual nation from that coalition. So with all that explained, it's a pretty fun format as it really stops people from just playing the best sort of decks all the time. And as we've seen early on in this match, we do have a bit of an aggressive helicopter play with a Salamandra and two Soul Calls pushing through, but Oracle does have that ninja. And it was a rather good sight that he did bring it on early on. He's going to be engaging that Soul Call here. Pretty deadly fight, but the ninja does get the kill, going to be backing off a bit. Does manage to shoot down the Black Hole kill. Tries to get the hip, but does not manage to do so. This early helicopter skirmishing actually going pretty well in NBK's favour, as he did manage to get into that all-important village position with the Leheka Pachotas. Just got a little bit of ATGM trading here between some Concours and Shoematch. EMI-17 trying to get into the action. Yeah, just looking at Oracle's deployment, not a whole lot of armor, really just more mechanized forces, some infantry and anti-aircraft units. And NBK also, once again, not all that heavy. He does have two Amron rogue tanks, which is definitely, the heaviest armor on the field currently. But mainly just a lot of infantry and definitely heavy investment in those helicopters. Oh, we actually do have a K1, never mind. There's a tank from Oracle's side here. It's a little bit outnumbered, and if it was Concours, yes, you don't really want to be getting close. But just like in any good wargame match, both sides do know how to use smoke pretty efficiently to save their units. And so I'm going to be forcing the Salamander and Shokul's Ray, both of them only getting a Ray with a single HP point left. Same thing with that ninja may want to think about resupplying another FOB. It's just he can still spot stuff, but it's also better if he could shoot stuff. Oh, very good sniper on the Tansan with the LSTRs. He is probably going to pay for it. But still not a terrible trade-off. Yeah, it's just light skirmish maneuvering between both sides here. Really just trying to use their mortars efficiently to get themselves into the correct place. Which is probably in cover and catching the enemy out in the open. That is the best place to be in. Looking down south, things are very quiet. There's only a few reconnaissance units here from Oracle, and well, I was about to say bug rule from NBK, but he is bringing some recon of his own, but only one troop. So not a whole lot. Everything is really just being geared around the Delta sector here. Oracle did manage to get some Songchongs. I think I said that terribly, but nonetheless some infantry into the forest at least. But there's a whole lot of angry Eastern Bloc blokes pushing through. I think just the firepower of the T-72s that's really gonna edge it into the favour of NBK. And also just the APCs helping out. Because Oracle doesn't have a whole lot here. It does have the Hoodoo Wrens, which are pretty nice with long-range recoilless rifles, really, not rocket launchers. He's not going to really do a lot of damage to the forces deeper into Delta here, so he's really just set up along the outskirt. This is probably going to give NBK a very good defensive position into Delta as he can control his forest. But the Songchongs are actually holding off pretty well against overwhelming forces here. Trying to maneuver out the raid to block line of sight for T-72. Up north, the Mi-17 going to be knocking out the infantry here. As NBK is maneuvering pretty well up north here as well, pretty much capturing the entirety of Echo. Which is a pretty good position to be in as I move in my squeaky chair. It is pretty squeaky, I should probably get some WD-40 onto it. The Hoodoo range once again proven to be very valuable for those recoilless rifles, knocking out some APCs. But NBK has managed to get into the position, and he still has his infantry and T-72s alive, which is really the important point here. Oracle does have a decent amount of fire support positioned along the outside here to really deter any real proper placement of forces within this forest and Delta. But NBK still holds the central heart of Delta at least, and he has the north of it secured thanks to the Heckers, like Pachotas, but they are out of recoilless rifle ammunition, which is not great. Not the best position to be in. But they are still, yeah. You're going to be seeing a CV being brought into Echo to capture the point. Yeah, it's really just light skirmishing. In his concourse trying to push the K1 out of position here. Also the M36 Jacksons, but the Jacksons aren't going to have any of that. Damn, there's a whole lot of smoke to cover his Rilks. Yeah, he is going to be bringing them in to try and snipe the tank destroyers. Pretty hard to destroy T-72 tanks with World War II weaponry. But the Hoodoo Wrens, once again, very good position, getting some hits and going to be damaging the T-72s. Not enough to get the kill, but it's going to be forcing them to fall back. Same with that Shumat, providing a little bit of supportive fire. And the anti-air is going to shoot down this Mi-18. Yes, it's like skirmishing. I'm really not knowing what to say. Oh, there is Echo has been captured thanks to the CV, which is going to be getting that +1 to NBK. That's definitely going to force Oracle to get a CV of his own, probably in Golf. That would be his best bet. And that's exactly what he will be doing. He is no slouch on the CV game, because at the end of the day, the only thing that really matters is gaining those all-important command points. We are seeing another Rilk being brought in. We're going to see a little bit of infantry skirmishing within this forest. As a Montes Dracula's will be engaging. Stockholm. Once again, I'm probably saying that terribly. I'm very sorry. They already have a very good K1 position in this forest here to give a good line of sight down this alleyway. So probably going to force a tank-on-tank fight here between the Rilks and the K1 eventually. Because the Rilks right now are in a good position to give fire support into this infantry. Which is that will pretty much shut down Oracle's push. If Oracle wants to really take its point, he needs to get his K1s into position to try and knock out those Rilks. Or bring in that Peace Pheasant. I see a red dot over here, and it is a sneaky Salamandra. One of these is going to try to go for a CV snipe in the hotel, which would be rather cheeky. This is one of the maps where you just have a whole lot of dead space. Like, you could have an entire another battle going on in that northern or southern section, depending on how I have the camera rotated of that map. It's just a pretty bloody fight over Delta. These feds being brought in, but once again evacing before even shooting any missiles, and that's because it's a MiG-29. And I too would evac if there was a MiG-29 flying around. It's gonna keep the T-72s in play. Everyone has been forced to fall back after taking some fire. NBK still doing pretty good in the tank game here. Managing to get pretty advantageous engagement so far. It's pretty funny seeing all this tank playing. We haven't seen any super heavy tanks, and people just playing around with the more medium pointed tanks, so to speak. Which on a map like this does make sense to do that in a sense, as you do have a lot of decent cover where those medium tanks can prove to be pretty well. And heck, if your opponent hasn't upgraded to a super heavy tank yet, and you're not, it'd be nice if you did get a super heavy tank, but you can, you know, still fight medium on medium. The K1 versus Rogue is a pretty fair fight, all things considering, really. Neither one really wants to get shot. The other K1 is pretty damn good now I think about it. Definitely does have that slight edge. As is a pretty cool tank. Cool tank number one, you could say. We got the CV being brought to go for neutralizing the point. NBK still has good map. I want to say he has like good map control, so to speak. He does have Echo under control, and that Delta will be neutralized if both sides get CVs into here. So, yes, with Echo pretty much secure, it does give him the +1 point advantage if all the CVs go down. Actually, I think that'd give him a +2. Yeah, because he'd capture Charlie and just keep Delta neutralized. So, never mind. He's in a really good spot. Oh, the Rogues are not in an advantageous position here. Getting into bad engagements against 3K runs. And you definitely want to fall back from that engagement. Oracle's starting to get a pretty good fire base force of support. Units to shoot stuff with over in the Delta position. Enforcing the Rogues back, he now has armor control over Delta. But even if he captures Delta, he really needs to try and make a play on Echo to neutralize that point. That's going to be... It's a little bit harder to do, as there's quite a bit of open ground between you and the enemy. Of course, right now, as we see, there's not a whole lot of defensive units here, but he doesn't know yet, of course. You're now seeing the CV being snuck into Delta here. Messi surprised didn't bring it into Charlie. That'll probably be a bit of a safer bet. That might also encourage Oracle to try and push into Charlie. There we go, CV is being captured onto Delta. And that's going to give NBK another nice +1 point advantage, forcing Oracle to immediately get a CV of his own to neutralize that point advantage, which is great play. As we've seen in previous Wargame casts, people always just ignore the enemy having that command zone advantage, and then they lose the match because for the past 15 minutes they've been giving their opponent a +1 or +2 advantage without contesting them, so to speak. And then you lose the match, because in the end of the day, it's really all matters about what happens in this part of the screen. You just need to make the numbers go up. The mortars are flying. Not getting all that many good hits. And Oracle has set a very good position in Delta now of all his forces. NBK doesn't have a whole lot here to really contest with. When the Pachotas pretty much out of ammunition in the village section. I feel like a wrong good post Oracle can really just completely neutralize the entirety of Delta here. Yes, and that seems like what he will be doing as he's bringing in those K runs. And using constant smoke to block out that concourse from doing anything nasty. And by nasty I mean shooting missiles into the side of that armor. Plane coming in. Almost got that Vulcan, but he did not manage to. Just bringing in the MiG-29 to support the Su-22, which is rather nice of him. Gets a second shot off. I believe that was a kill. Yes, it was. Gets a Vulcan minigun. There we go. Good use of smoke here to block the concourse, and gonna be moving in the K-runs. East Pheasant comes in, does get shot down. We are seeing super heavy now. A T-72 Moderna, but in a close range fight like this, those K-runs are still pretty scary. This could go south for the T-72 if he does not play his cards right. Fortunately, one of the K-runs is isolated, so he can pick off the outrun. What he really needs to try and do here. Oh, he's taking hits, though, and he's not liking it, so he's going to back off, even though he only was taking 1 damage. And dropping a bit of nape, not hitting anything, but really it's going to be blocking any path of an attack here. The 2K runs are currently a little bit isolated. The infantry support has just got completely annihilated. Fortunately, there's no anti-tank nearby to really get any good shots from the K1s. They can just sit here pretty and just shoot anything that gets close, as the infantry can't do too much. A CAV is brought onto Delta, where it starts to neutralize the point. And the Hooterins in a sneaky position to hit one of the transports coming in, but does not get a kill. It feels like it's just going to boil down to his tank engagement eventually. As these 2K runs are really just blocking off the Motor Strangler from really moving up any further. Even though things aren't looking as great for NBK, you still got to remember, he can just capture Charlie and that's going to give him a +1. He still has map control. It's really going to force Oracle to try and recapture the entirety of Delta. He wants to try and get a foot into the game, or trying to play into Echo, but we're really not seeing any forces up here, so I doubt that's going to happen. The K1s are actually being forced to fall back here, just taking an overwhelming amount of RPG fire. He is going to lose it just due to those crappy RPG 75s, which is not ideal. I believe he also lost another K1 there. So he's only down to run, which really tips the favour in NBK. Yeah, it definitely feels like NBK really has got us in the bag. Got Moderna's now being a huge pain in the ass. Oracle's infantry is making good headway, only having to fight Motor Strangler. There we go, the Concours managed to get line of sight again and does snipe one of the transports, forcing an early unload. We are seeing that Stevie being snuck into Charlie here, as well as some defensive reinforcements. That's going to give NBK a nice and steady +1 point advantage, which is all that really matters. The rope does actually go down here, as we do see a super heavy Kai Marashiki being brought in. Definitely going to give that Moderna a run for its money. But NBK, he can just hold. He doesn't need to play aggressively. He just needs to hold. There's 18 minutes on the clock. He's got a pretty good points lead already, and he's still gaining points. You know, Oracle either has to completely capture Delta, which will take a lot of time, or try and play an Echo. And I do feel like he's really missing out on not pushing Echo. He is trying to push a little bit down south. Did move his recon units a little bit further, but not really anywhere substantial, to say the least. And I always find pushing down the southern end of this map is always a bit tricky. Being a massive pour and a model strangely once again. There's a huge amount of models directly. I think we'll be able to secure this push. Kaya NK1's just got a second Kaya Marasaki and to really invest heavily in the heavy anti-tank firepower here, but the main problem is just trying to get him into a good position. As moving them up north into Delta is scary. You saw what happened to the last K1. Even just a bunch of crappy rocket launchers can blow you up. And it is only one Moderna, so he does have advantage in terms of superiority in numbers, but not so much in positioning. And that roller model directly will just slow down any tank push. Or infantry push in this case, any push. Oh, I do like he's sneaking up the LSTR-40s into the opposing forest. Some special forces maneuvers. Oh, if he kills this... Oh, he could probably kill his Karamarashiki here. His RPG-29s are rather brutal. And that's exactly what he's going to be doing. The Karyu is not going to have any of it and is going to back off just in the nick of time. K1's going to come in to help, but he does get the kill. Very good kill. Very good kill indeed. Almost going to kill the K1 here. What a fantastic flank here of smoke. I mean, just a advanced rocket launcher in the right place can make a lot of damage. A lot of chains. Oh, I do like how he's trying to do the sneaky play of just rushing right down the highway. No one ever expects it. Deed coming as well as MiG-29s and Napalm Bomber. And Hatchin and Asiki just going for a nice Sunday drive as the match ends, and that'll be a good game to NBK as Oracle did tap out. Pretty close in the KD, yeah? Only a 400 or point so difference, but yeah, really just came down to NBK getting into a good map control position early on, capturing the entirety of Echo, and then just winning the majority of those important tank fights, which really secured the Delta point, really. Yeah, I think that was a rather straightforward match, all things considering. There wasn't anything too crazy going on there, just some pretty good trade all around. NBK at the end with that LSTR flank really secured in the game, just knocking out that super heavy. And, well, yeah, I'm going to end it off. Yeah, I hope to see more of this tournament, as I always do love seeing matches where it isn't just the meta coalitions or national decks being played, as this game has a lot of nations and we don't get to see all of them, which is a bit of a shame. And I'm actually going to leave it off for now. This has been another Wargame Dragon Cast. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and as usual, please just take it easy.